Hello, this is my very first video. I'm newly awakened and I'm from the UK, and my last time at the Kingdom Hall was the memorial. Oh, that was torture. I have been a baptised witness for 36 years. There were so many things that really started to wake me up. Over the past few years, I felt that there's something desperately wrong at the top. Well, all the way through really, but really from the top. They're so narcissistic twats. My husband is still Pimo. He's waking up. Sadly, he's going to the assembly over the weekend, and because he's an attendant. Last year there were me, my husband, my daughter, her friend, my 2 Bible studies, and my son, all fully in, still going to the meetings, me a regular pioneer. And then just so much happened this past year, really this past year culminated in me leaving basically in April. So my husband's going as an attendant at the convention, and he said once he's done his stint, he's coming home. What a change to how he still does ministry, he still goes to meetings on his own. I sit there and watch him get ready for the meetings, thinking, what a waste of a life. But I was there not that long ago. Anyway, a little bit of history about me is I was not a born-in. I actually chose to join. Back in the late 70s, I've got a little bit of history. My grandmother was a witness, my mother was not, and my uncles on my mother's side were witnesses with all their family. We were the worldly family. So I got married at 17 and I had a baby, and this was the late 70s, and the news was all there's going to be a Third World War, the Doomsday Clock, the Cold War. So pretty bad news, as we still even get today. So I've got this prem baby, I'm 18, thinking what a wicked world I've brought this young baby into. And my nan, being a witness, I used to pop and visit her, she'd give me the Watchtower magazines. And I thought, oh, sound of a paradise. Who doesn't want a better world for their children? That's how I got hooked. I go on to have another child at 20, I started to go to meetings, different ones studying with me. So come age 22, I'm baptised at Bowes Road in London. So I then spend many years as a mum, then of 3 children, on my own in the truth, even though I was married. My first husband was not interested. That marriage lasted for 17 years, wasn't a happy one. We just got married too young, we just weren't suited, but I tried to make the best of it. As I say, he died at 37, so I'm widowed at 35, in the truth. 3 children, 2 teenage boys, 1 11-year-old daughter. Very hard time. Not a lot of sympathy or help from brothers and sisters, because as a 35-year-old single sister now, you apparently become a bit of a threat in the congregation. Anyway, I end up marrying a lovely brother who is still my present husband. We didn't particularly do it the right way. Well, we didn't. We dobbed ourselves in, were disfellowshipped, and went through the, shunning and the awful treatment, and even sticking in that congregation 5 years from reinstatement, and we had children of our own. They were shunned. You would get people in the congregation, see that where we were sat, grab their cardigan off the back of the Kingdom Hall and run to the other side of the Kingdom Hall. This is 5 years after being reinstated. You talk about a loving organisation. Why didn't I wake up then? But anyway, odd bits over the years, like when they brought in the flip-floppy what's it generation. I mean, that's one thing my grandmother would always go on about especially the mid-70s, and I wasn't a witness. Armageddon's coming, 1914 generation, Armageddon's coming. I had that so drummed into my head, and it's all imminent, round the corner, imminent. So basically, my first children from my first marriage, through their teens and losing their dad, a very traumatic time. Sadly, he wasn't maybe the closest father, but he was still their father. No empathy or understanding from brothers and sisters in the congregation for my boys or my daughter. In fact, my daughter was an unbaptised publisher, and when they had the Kingdom Ministries back then, me and my now second husband were sitting at the back, as you did back then, and my 11-year-old daughter, she was 13 then by the time we married, she was nearly denied having a Kingdom ministry because can't have a Kingdom ministry in that house. I mean, and I would drop her off for field service. I would be parked around the corner, drop her off. This is a 13-year-old girl who's lost her dad. Her mum's remarried and she's disfellowshipped. Drop her off at the place for field service. She would come out crying because people wouldn't work with her. How disgraceful is that? How disgraceful. Wow. So that was back in about 1999. So now me and my husband go on to have 3 children of our own. Sadly so, bringing those up in the truth. So my daughter's left, my 2 older sons have left. We've now got a very young family, a girl and 2 boys. So, and we move because issues with his now deceased brother over a business that he just stole from under my husband, even though he was an elder, but there you go, that's what they do. So we've moved to a different place, new congregation, new start, because with all that crap from the disfellowshipping of me and my husband and the years of just being stonewalled, really, some people would just not accept that we were back. I suppose it's because there was jealousy and we were happy, but at the end of the day, you don't take it out on innocent children who were no part of the disfellowshipping. So no wonder my 3 older ones just didn't want anything to do with it. I actually cannot blame them at all. I've even apologised to each of them that I inflicted them with what I thought was the truth, and it certainly is not the truth. So that episode. So anyway, over the past few years, I suppose since 2000, as my children were growing up, when you've got children, you're kept so busy as a witness, as you all know, you do not have time to think. You really do not. So I'm like, it's all imminent still, and it's all thinking. So you're on the hamster wheel. 3, I'm an older mum, 3 young children, getting them to all the meetings. Sorry, I was one of those ones who loved the ministry, didn't want to miss a meeting unless you're ill. Oh dear, am I nuts? I suppose I am. I suppose it makes you nutty. Anyway, my children now are 21, 20 and 17, the younger 3. So I am really pushing, I'm regular pioneering. Last year was when it all kicked off, basically. I heard about the Australian Royal Commission this time last year, basically, and I actually didn't look into it, but prior to that, as I said, I was like troubled when there was the overlapping generation. Like, what is that? I thought, I don't get it, but leave it to Jehovah, he'll help us understand. And the negativity, the gossip, and I'm regular pioneering, and some of the pioneers, they are the most spiteful, gossipy Just let's eat cake, and call it ministry. And I'm like, sorry, I thought we were meant to be actually taking the good news to people. But anyway, so I'm gaining weight. I actually gained 2 stone in 18 months of pioneering. Talk about scoffing cake and drinking coffee. Yeah, that's ministry. Not. But anyway, my daughter had a 3rd generation JW boyfriend. Well, as youngsters often do, youngsters 20, early 20s, they ended up having sex. And my daughter, she's very honest. She got overcome by guilt, went and confessed to the elders. He was telling her, no, don't. The boyfriend, that is. So he breaks up. Absolutely, the way he treated her was disgusting. 3rd generation witness. The most nastiest, one of the nastiest person I've come across. Didn't me say the word right. So anyway, to see your daughter heartbroken and then racked with guilt, dob herself into the elders. Wow. So this is happening this time last year. And obviously at the assembly last year, I've got my studies, we got all of us there. The video of the girl, disfellowship girl, going out the house, the mum and dad, so pathetic. And then she phones her mother, and her mother picks up the phone, puts it back on the kitchen top. I'm like, that's wrong. That's wrong on every level. Every level. Everyone sat there like bloody seals clapping away, and I'm like, worried about what my Bible studies must think of that, but also that is wrong. That is just wrong. I couldn't clap it. And also the denial of the 1975 that, oh well, it was just from brothers running ahead apparently. No, it wasn't. My nan was convinced. Sadly, she's passed. That was one of the main things she'd rabbit on about. So anyway, back to this time last year, watching them videos and thinking, along with other bits in the back of my mind, and thinking something's off. There's just anyway, I'm then booked up to go to Pioneer School, the paradisic, whatever crap. Oh, quick! Oh, got a feature going to Pioneer School. You're sort of put on such a bloody pedestal. But at the end of the day, I went. Well, during that time, obviously, my daughter had gone to the elders with the guilt, wanting to be honest. I've got to praise her for that. You know, young girl. Anyway, she sat in front of some 70-year-old elder and a couple of other guys. 20-year-old girl sat in front of them. I didn't know at the time, when she was disfellowshipped, while I'm at Pioneer School, the very first day I'm at Pioneer School, and I'm doing all this regular pioneering, I did not know, she did not tell us the questions that they asked until the December and Jan, and I'll tell the reasons why it was left until December and Jan. The questions they asked wasn't sufficient just to ask, have you had sexual relations? Have you had intercourse, basically? It was much worse. I mean, if I see that brother, I want to punch him. Such graphic, intimate, step by step account of what happened from a young girl in front of 3 grown men. I was disgusted. So was her dad. We were disgusted. Absolutely disgusted. How they could sit there and ask such questions. So she goes away. She has a public reproof. Well, they told her it was a private reproof, but then there was a local needs talk. and all but naming her, a young one in our congregation. You know, there weren't many young ones. Who was it? Oh, let's just have an arrow above her head. Anyway, so much for a private reproof. But she sits through the talk. She sat through the disfellowship and announcement. She complied. She, you know, we did speak to her, but in your head you're trying to sort of even though I disagreed with that assembly video, I was torn, because I'm like, it's not wrong, but you're like feeling you got to look over your shoulder, make sure nobody sees that you're talking to your own daughter. That's so stupid. And then once she told us in the December, Jan, and I'd done all these months of pioneering, over 100 hours each month, September, October, November. Well, the September she moves into a different property. And, you know, I'm thinking, oh, she's a bit distant now, maybe we should sort of not see her as much. But anyway, I couldn't do it. We couldn't do it. No, it's not right, it's wrong. Stop the shunning, it's wrong. And I'd gone mad doing me hours, over 300 hours in 3 months. I'd sprained my ankle badly, and I'm still trying to be a martyr. How stupid. But anyway, my ankle was ballooning up, just ballooning up. I'm thinking, if I don't rest my leg, you know, limping to get to meetings, I mean, oh, why? And just thinking, my body's telling me I have got to rest this leg, or I'm actually going to end up causing much, much more damage. So, December, I'm missing meetings. My ministry is like gone from like 100 to 20. And some of that's just on return visits, so driving round. So I'm just like, well, from hearing in the summer about the Australian Royal Commission, I allowed myself to look. And it's like opening a Pandora's box. Once you start looking, then I've got John Cedars. I'll tell you, all you guys, Susan Gaskin, there's just so many to mention. All you activists, you just really don't know how much you're helping one's wake up. Berean Pickets. There's just so many. Sorry, I'm not mentioning you all, but you all do a fantastic job. You really, really do. So the December and Jan, I'm like, wow. I mean, to me, it's either the truth, which it is not, or it's not. And once I'm like, it's not. On every level, it's not. So I'm angry. I have a few weeks where I'm so angry, and my husband's a witness, and he's still going to meetings. He's starting to call me apostate. Didn't cause arguments. I was worried, because he's a very reasonable thinking man. He's like got his own version of being a JW, because he even calls the elders dinosaurs. But anyway, he said, oh, you watching your apostate videos? And I said, yes. So I thought, I'm not going to hide stuff from him. But a few times I foolishly was attacking him over the witness side of things, which then I realised actually that's not the best thing to do. So I just generally sort of like, oh, I found this out. So I did it more from as witnesses do the door, because obviously from the pioneer, and thinking, oh, well, actually posing a question and leaving it with him to think. And then saying, oh, this is what I found. So, but doing it softly. So softly is the way. Don't get angry at them. Be nice. I do love them. And at the end of the day, it was that, and hearing a few bits. But anyway, this will not make people laugh. A local circuit assembly was coming up. And my husband had said yes to the Watchtower study conductor that we would go on the platform and read the little pre-rehearsed 20,000 times snippets of the Watchtower. Well, by then I'm like, I don't want to do it. I really don't. But my husband said yes. So I'm thinking, I don't want to cause issues for him. So I thought, I'll go along and support him. Well, I'll tell you, you sit out at them all cackling and with their little clicks. Anyway, we go out on the platform, and I look out at the audience, and if he hadn't have been stood next to me, I'd have just said, you're all brainwashed into a cult. I just looked out and I just thought, I know I'm not coming back. I am not coming back to an assembly. So that was in February, beginning of February 2019. And that was the last time my youngest son, 17-year-old, went to any meeting or anything, because he's been disgusted by the way his sister has been treated and the things he's seen going on. He's seen the cliques, he's seen the gossip, he's done. Anyway, I will do a different video of an update of what's happened since February. Anyway, all the best to everybody and everybody leaving. Do your research and be happy.